Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become the confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I'm very excited to have on a guest and friend, Lynn Tranchell. And let me just tell you about Lynn's great background. She is a seasoned success coach with a remarkable track record of guiding leaders towards goals for 3 decades. Lynn empowers entrepreneurs to achieve remarkable outcomes while expending their less effort and achieving greater financial rewards using the science of success. With a deep understanding of human psychology and a passion for brain science, Lynn leverages her BA in psychology and MS in computer science with a focus on artificial intelligence to create cutting-edge strategies. Her unwavering dedication to continuous learning is reflected in her multiple coaching certifications, all infused with the principles of brain science. As someone with firsthand account of a true life crisis experience, she serves as a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the potential for growth even in the darkest of times. Listeners will gain a profound understanding of how her positive mindset played a pivotal role in personal transformation, ultimately leading to write a book, turning a negative experience into a rewarding and fulfilling experience, helping others. The theme for today is going to be turn doubt into action to create more success. Please join me in welcoming Lynn Tranchell. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So we always start with the easy first question, and it is, where do you live? Where do you call home?
I live in Buffalo, New York.
Yes, Buffalo, where you get to have the Canadian air hit you first before it comes down south here.
That's right.
So let's talk about that thing that really drives whether or not we're going to be successful or not, and that is the power of your mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Before the age of 7, well, we have 2 parts to our brain, our conscious brain and our subconscious brain. And our conscious brain is our thinking brain. It's the one that makes decisions. Our subconscious is our emotional brain. It just does whatever it's told. And before the age of 7, your conscious mind did not exist. So think about it. Everything goes right into your subconscious without a filter. And that's where we get our beliefs, our paradigms, where they say that we inherit our parents' beliefs and their parents' beliefs and their parents' beliefs on infinitum.
Yes.
And that's why it is important to pay attention to our thoughts and ask, are those our thoughts that will move us forward, or are those our limiting beliefs from our parents or grandparents?
Wow. And it is true. A lot of times people even don't realize how those past experiences have really, truly impacted. And they know they're stuck. They know they can't do what they want to do, but they just don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the realization that you can change it. There's
Yeah.
good news and bad news. The good news is it's not your fault. The bad news is it is your responsibility.
Yeah, that is so true. So take accountability, people. All right. Listeners are going to gain understanding about the impact of growth-oriented mindset while they are going on their speaking journey, for example. But they have to embrace an open mind. How do they get to be positive and have that open mindset in this journey as a speaker whenever they have all these other things kind of holding them back?
Yeah, the first is just the awareness. The process that I go through in the guide that I'm going to be providing people is a 4-step process. It's called the AIR method, AIRR. So the first is just awareness. You have to realize that those thoughts that you're thinking are keeping you. They're creating doubt, and doubt causes you to hesitate. It causes you to procrastinate, and things either get delayed or they don't happen at all. So once you're aware of that thought, the next thing you want to do is interrupt it. Have a strong, powerful interrupt like up until now, or I used to. Stop that thought. And then you want to release it. You might want to picture it floating away like a balloon. And then once that's gone, you want to replace it with what you want. For example, you might have said in the past, I was scared every time I got on stage.
Yeah.
But now it's easy for me to get on stage, and it becomes easier and easier.
So as you have these things, are you physically, as you're trying to get through it, are you physically like getting rid of it and then does picturing that in your mind help the process? Or is it just a guidance, if you will, in your mind, you're not really, to me, I could see like, get rid of this.
Yeah. It really is dependent on whether you're more visual or verbal. If you're visual, you're going to want to picture that thought floating away. If you're verbal, it's just the saying that does it. And actually by saying the up until now, or I used to, that tricks your conscious brain into letting the next phrase go into your subconscious because it agrees with what you say. And when it agrees with what you say, that makes it easier to go into your subconscious. The next piece is even more important, and that is action. You can't reframe your thoughts, your paradigms, and then sit on the couch binge watching Netflix.
It doesn't work.
Changes. So after you do that, you say, if this is who I am, if this is what I'm doing, what will I do now? So that next step might be just going out and booking a speaking engagement. It might be going out and talking to people about something. So take the action to support that reframe. And that's like the ground wire to electricity. Without a ground wire, electricity doesn't work. So by grounding it with action, it reinforces that reframe.
So as you're talking about that, I thought, a lot of times we talk about and advise people just do small steps, get small wins. So, maybe you're not going to go and have that next thing you do be a speaking gig, but maybe it's just a networking, whether it's online and where you're just going to be saying what you do for a minute, or maybe it's going to coffee with somebody, even if it's a friend or acquaintance, to just say, hey, can I practice with you on what I want to do? What would you say about that?
That's perfect, because baby steps will take you all the way to the top of Mount Everest. So as long as you're taking some action in that direction, any action you take is perfect, as long as the action isn't to sit on your couch and watch Netflix. It has to be an action in support of the reframe.
Right. And so what would you say about the consistency and persistency of that action? How invaluable is that?
Yeah, it's really valuable to be able to take those steps, and that reinforces your thought habit, your new thought habits, your new paradigms. And again, you don't have to take, like you mentioned, you don't have to take big steps. You just have to take the steps. And you can, whenever you hear a thought that's not supporting you, you can learn to, in that moment, reframe it. And as you do that, it becomes easier and easier. You recognize it faster and you frame it faster.
So now you have, on your journey, you have admitted that you had something, you've beat it out of you, you let it, all the good things float in, and you've taken the small step. Now, oh my God, you got to do what you don't want to do, and that's go a little step outside that comfort zone now and do something else. What do you say to yourself to get that courage to be able to go that next step? Okay, I made it. I lived through this networking. How can I go to maybe do a podcast with Vicki?
Yeah, so it is the next step. And I always tell my clients, if you hear that voice of doubt, that's a good sign. Because if you were just sitting on the couch watching Netflix, that voice would be fat, dumb, happy, and quiet. So it's good news. Every time you hear that voice, it's good news, because that means you're doing something. Your subconscious soul responsibility is to keep you safe. So when you go to do something, it doesn't know the outcome. It throws up the red flags. Whoa, 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 whoa. You don't want to do that. And when you hear that voice, just know that it is a good sign, and taking that next step is the right step to take.
Awesome.
You want to be comfortable in the discomfort.
That's right. You know, as you're talking about that, way back, you and I would probably remember this, but they used to have like the little devil on one side and the angel on the other side.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what I imagine, like the devil's telling us.
Yeah. Yeah. The devil is saying, too scary, too scary. And the angel is saying, go for it.
You can do it.
Definitely. Yeah.
So those are, we talked about, you know, a person who maybe is already a speaker, but they are having maybe a moment of, okay, I was happy and comfortable speaking to small groups. Now I have to go bigger. But what about the brand new person? They just started their business and somebody says, oh, by the way, you have to go on live, or you have to do a reel, or you have to do a speech. And they thought, but no, I just have this product. Somebody else can do that. How do you advise that new person to overcome the self-doubt and to just really recognize that they can conquer this fear?
Yeah, and you do it by doing it. And you have to be willing to fail forward, so to speak. You do it afraid. Every time you do it, you get better and better. The first time you might flub-a-dub something. The first time I did a speech like that online, I completely blanked out. Something happened, my camera flickered, and I had no idea what I was going to say next. So I was just there going, abba, abba, and I would remember a few words. I would say a few words. I would abba, 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 go blank again and say a few more words. I finished though. And the next time I did it better.
Yeah.
And now I can get up at just about anywhere and speak for 15, 20 minutes without notes, without worry. I just can get up and do it now. So it just takes practice, and it takes the ability to do it afraid.
Yeah. And, you know, for somebody that's been doing this for 27 years, you always have a little bit of fear and being afraid and of the unknown. But when you start to have fun and you start to remember that you know this stuff, you got this, that you can do it. So exactly. I love for you to talk about building resilience through the face of challenges.
Yeah. So when you are doing things, you get the confidence. And as you get a little confidence, you get a little more confidence. And pretty soon you're like Teflon. Things just slide right off of you. And that's when you get to that place where you have that resilience. You know that whatever happens, whatever comes your way, it'll just slide right off and you can step forward in confidence. And not that the doubt will never go away. The doubt will always be there. It just depends on what you do with the doubt. 90% of the people receive the same results year in and year out. And the difference between that 90% and the 10 most successful is what they do with doubt. The most successful allow the doubt to be there and they take the action anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So you have your workbook, and so I'm assuming that it has interactive exercises or activities in it and real life examples. But what is it designed to do, your workbook?
Yeah, it's basically designed to take those thoughts, those habits, those paradigms that are keeping you from taking action, where the doubt turns into frustration, procrastination, inaction, or just postponement. If it postpones a little bit, you may miss an opportunity. So it's helping you to be able to do that at any moment, be able to change those thought habits to support where you want to go and be able to do it time and time again. So it creates that new way of handling things.
So I love you said that you can discover how to bounce back from rejection, setbacks, and those creative blocks. And you know, I part of what we have to do is we have to come up with fresh materials, blogs, newsletters, or whatnot to really get to people to know us. And there's that, I don't know what to do next, that block, that creativity. So what are some tools or tips that can help us with our creative guru inside of us?
Yeah, one of the things that I do is I write down things as they happen. And you can use anything that happens to you, even just going to the grocery store and an interaction with somebody. Last week I was puppy sitting my niece's dog. And at one point she just bolted to the back fence to protect me. I mean, dogs, that's an innate ability for dogs to sense danger and protect you. And I got the idea that's exactly what our subconscious does. So I wrote that down and I did a Facebook Live about it.
Awesome.
So you can collect information, anything that happens to you, you can collect it and turn it into a story. And then you can just scan through all of those lists, pick something out and expand it into something bigger.
Brilliant. And I know one of my other mentors I have does that all the time in her newsletters. So it's a great tool, great tip. It's time now for some rapid fire questions. We'll just have a few here. What makes multitasking a myth?
Well, you're really not multitasking, you're switch tasking. And every time you switch, you lose something. In fact, they say that if you multitask enough, your brain is less efficient than if you were a dope addict. So think about that.
Whoa.
Every time you switch task, you lose something. So it takes longer and longer for you to catch up and to do things. So multitasking takes longer than focus. So you can just focus on one task for a certain amount of time. And when you do that, it's amazing how much you get done by just focusing on one thing at a time.
Right. And I think in some ways, I think people have mislabeled the multitasking because some of us, we do something for a bit and then we stop that and we do something else. Throughout the day, you might have done multiple things, but it's just not at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are the strategies to getting things done more efficiently. We have only so many hours in a day, and we have a ton of things calling on us for our attention. How can we be more strategic in getting things done?
Yeah, people talk about time management. You're really not managing time, you're managing the tasks. So you want to set aside a list of tasks that you want to do. Another study that I found was that if you have 2 to 3 goals, you accomplish those 2 to 3 goals with excellence. If you have 3 to or 4 to 9 goals, something like that, you achieve 50% with excellence. Anything more than that, it's 0. So by focusing on those top 3, whatever goals, and doing those, setting aside focus time for each one of those, and then when those are done, going on to the next. It's kind of like clearing the clutter in your brain too.
Yeah.
If you try to think about too many things at once, you're so confused and so overwhelmed that you don't get anything done. So pick those 2 to 3 things you want to focus on and get those done first, and then move on to the next ones.
That's great advice. That's great advice. So it's time now for us to share my screen so you can get information about Lynn and be able to connect with her and also listen to what she has for you. If you have been just listening in, I will share the website, but that information that you'll see on the slide will be in my show notes on YouTube, as well as findyourleadershipconfidence.com. So as I said, I will share the website. It is https://www.Lynn Tranchell, that's LYNNTRANCHELL.com. You can go to that website to find information. We also have her on Facebook at Lynn Tranchell Coaching with capital L, capital T, and capital C, Lynn Tranchell Coaching. She is also on Facebook for just her name, Lynn.Tranchell. Instagram, she's at Lynn.Tranchell. LinkedIn, she's Lynn Tranchell, all one word smashed together. TikTok, she's at Lynn.Tranchell. Twitter, she's Lynn Tranchell, capital T and capital L. And YouTube, she's at Lynn Tranchell, capital T, L, capital T. So I'm going to turn it over now to Lynn to talk to you about what her call to action is for you today.
Yeah, so I put together a workbook, a guide to help you go from doubt to action so that you can go from a limited mindset to limitless profit. And by using this AIR method that I talked about on the show today, you can, in the moment, notice and then shift and then take action. Because remember, action is like the ground wire. So it has a whole process of, there's different steps that you can take. You fill in the blanks. You can use this over and over and over again every time you come up with a thought that doesn't support you.
Awesome. And again, remind everyone, AIR is action.
AIRR. Awareness, interrupt, release, replace.
All right. Awareness, interrupt, release, replace. Well, Lynn, it has been just such a pleasure, and you gave such great information and great insights for the audience today. And I do hope that everyone does visit your website, lyntranchell.com, and also get that gift from Lynn.com so that you can get the workbook and start today to take action so that you can be aware, interrupt, release, and replace all those negative thoughts with good, positive things to make you go from to your limitless profits, as she said. Thank you so much. And as a reminder to everyone, life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.